Just as we started the CFMoto Glaze Fest here on Yami Noob, they have fumbled at the finish line. This is really sad to see, but CFMoto is engaging in some shady practices with their subscription model. Logan, nobody likes subscriptions. What's CFMoto doing?
Yeah, nobody likes subscriptions, and it's interesting because you see CFMoto is very like youth-oriented, very focused on a new younger rider demographic. And if I found anything, as you know, maybe a younger person myself, younger riders have a lot of distrust for big global corporations, right? And things like paywalls, especially post-purchase paywalls to unlock things that you already have access to, just as more to instill distrust between companies and buyers. So very strange move for sure on CFMoto's part.
Nothing feels slimier to me than when you've bought something, everything to use the thing is there, but then there's a tiny bit of code that says, unless you pay me money, I won't give it to you. Companies have been doing this for almost 10 years now. There's so many famous examples. BMW's heated seat subscription was possibly the most egregious. Heated Seatgate, that's right. But let's talk specifically about CFMotos. So they have basically done now where they sold the bike to people with features like location tracking, fuel economy on the app or whatever, like you could see it on your phone. And then sort of overnight, they said, this feature now has to be paid. Is that what happened?
Yeah, so yeah, I think CFMoto owners, there's like the RideSync app or whatever. You know, most bikes have those. But CFMoto's, I think, is maybe, especially for some of their smaller displacement models, one of the few companies that was like had this really comprehensive app for very cheap bikes, and which is cool for things like the location-based services can be nice, you know, if your bike gets stolen or you lose it or whatever.
Yeah.
But also things like engine diagnostics, you see that come up a lot, like on the Discord or on different forums. People are like, how do I read an engine code on a motorcycle? Because it's different than just having an OBD2 ports like you do on a car. So the app was kind of a nice thing to have. And then, now it's like you got to pay for it, which, and it's one thing if, you know, on new and upcoming models, it's explicitly stated, hey, for an extra fee each month, you can have access to this app. But they're doing it retroactively for people who already own these bikes, being like, oh yeah, you can't use that app anymore is kind of greasy for sure.
Yeah, it's really slimy. And to me, I just feel like CFMoto will probably backpedal on this.
They always do.
Yeah, they always do, because this has been tried so many times in motorcycling and in automotive, and it's like they do it, there's a big backlash, and like, whoops, just kidding, we're not going to do that. We talked about it here on the Yami Noob channel with Zero's subscription packages, and you know, not to say that we single-handedly caused that change, but they did backpedal on that because there was a lot of backlash. Nobody likes this stuff. There's a new one that's happening right now with VW where this is weird, where they like locked away the highest power mode behind the subscription. It's like, you really want me to pay $20 a month to get the maximum horsepower or whatever?
And I think you see it more in the sort of EV space. I think that's why Zero was kind of very on the pulse in terms of like subscription-based unlockables or whatever. I don't even know the specific industry term.
Loot boxes.
Yeah, exactly. DLCs, whatever. But I think was with EV stuff, you know, it's so computer controlled and dependent from every single aspect of the car. It's a lot easier to kind of keep things locked away.
Yeah.
And I think as cars and motorcycles that still use internal combustion engines do become more advanced and more tech laden, there's just more opportunities for companies to kind of keep those locked away. Obviously, KTM's big glaring example too with the optional tech pack. And because it wasn't just unlocking power modes, but like use of a quick shifter or cruise control, things that are already installed on the bike. Like they're physically there, but they don't work. That is like dystopian level.
Yeah. To charge a subscription for it is crazy. I think the second layer on that is like, to just charge it to unlock in general is crazy. But, you know, what's weird is I wonder, like, you know, is there a difference between companies that, you know, by regulation have had to neuter their bikes and then you basically pay to unlock more power, right? Versus the company itself neuters it and then expects you to pay them to unlock it. You know what I mean? It's like, now we're getting to the point where like so many of these new products, you have to pay something after purchase to do something with the bike, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you see comparisons a lot between sort of this sort of paid subscription automotive unlock thing and like video games. People say that all the time. All the free to play games or freaking gotcha games or whatever, they're all free to play. But in order to have any sort of actual competitive advantage or even have it be fun, like you have to spend a bunch of money on the skins and the I mean, I don't play those games, but I assume that's how it works, and I see those comparisons made a lot.
If I may take a moment, if you play gotcha games, seek help. Seek help. Talk to a loved one. Call 1-800-GAMBLING problem or whatever. I don't know what the hotline is. Seek help. Those big T anime girls will never love you back. Never. Don't do it.
I mean, because they're also cartoon characters. It's not even like a person.
Yeah, they're not even real. The other thing I wanted to say is, if we have to live in a world where there is subscriptions and you got to pay to unlock or whatever, why don't we make it fun? We talked about how CFMoto they make their motorcycles less powerful to make them more reliable, right? That makes sense. What if 1 out of 100 CFMotos was just, had like 150 horsepower, and then like every month they just select a random bike and like doubles its horsepower. At least then it's fun.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate golden ticket marketing scam.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point too, the reason I brought up the video game thing and to be able to have the competitive advantage is like, it's funny. It's like maybe all these manufacturers are seeing like what riders will spend on like aftermarket stuff and being like, okay, they'll buy this bike for 20 grand and then they're going to pay $1,500 for an exhaust and $1,500 or not 1,500 for an exhaust and then $400 to have it flashed or whatever.
Yeah.
And obviously they can't do that to an extent, but maybe they're trying to capitalize on that sort of mentality of like, well, enthusiasts will pay more to have more, get more out of their bike.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just painfully ironic because it's like there's no way even paying for an unlockable power mode on your bike is going to make it anywhere near the gains you'd get from like an actual flash or whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's probably something about it too, because you see it too, especially with cars. It is always in the either luxury segment or like the enthusiast segment, like BMW, for instance. Mercedes did something too of like a couple years ago of keeping the highest power mode out of the behind a paywall, and then they quickly backpedaled on that too, because you see most of that stuff was happening like 2-3 years ago, the Zero thing, the BMW thing, the Mercedes thing, and then it's like every couple years companies are just like peek their head back out and be like, did they forget? Can we try it again?
Can we try it again? But it does such damage to the reputation of a brand.
Yeah,
like KTM still deals with people commenting, being like, this is that scammy brand that just wants your money for a subscription.
Right.
I'm just like, CFMoto, you didn't have to do this, like you were already on this really nice trajectory. I mean, I kind of think of it this way, like I look at the interest and attention those bikes get on our channel as a bit of like it's an indicator, right?
Yeah,
like
sure.
It's not the only indicator, but I'm like, this brand has a lot of attention on it. They're doing really well. They're selling cool bikes. The Ibex 450 has been a big hit for them. I'm like, why do this?
Yeah.
And like, maybe it's the same idea behind software companies and tech companies where they like do a lot of cool stuff to like get a bunch of users, and then they just like make the service worse, but they're like, well, you can't go anywhere because we already have you captured in our ecosystem. Right. Maybe that's CFMoto's play. They're like, well, we'll sell these bikes for super cheap and get people in, and then, build out the Chinese databases, start getting you to subscribe to them, maybe that's the play. I mean, that's a shitty play to do, but maybe that's the play.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very conspiratorial angle. Not to say that couldn't be the case. I mean, certainly worse things have happened on global scales.
VW's Dieselgate, right? That was another one. So
on the other thing, maybe their intention is maybe less conspiratorial, less nefarious, and maybe more just like embracing their sort of like brand nihilism of like, that's been part of their success, is just doing whatever the data tells them people want, as opposed to having this greater philosophy or this greater brand vision or this sort of 100-year legacy that they're 100-year legacy course they're charting or whatever. And so they could very well be like, they're like, our data shows, according to everything we're seeing from the billions of users on TikTok or whatever, we can try this, and if people hate it, we can backpedal, and then they'll forget about it in a month. You know what I mean? Maybe they have this sort of like culture of like the consumer culture so like laser focused dialed that they know the risks they can take and what the outcomes will be, negative or positive, because it's clearly, it's like they're selling bikes for so cheap. Why are they trying to eke out marginal $10-15 a month per user for an app, right? Like it's
well, maybe that's exactly why, right? Like the bikes are really cheap, and so in order to help the margin, you have to get other services tacked on, right? Like that's a strategy in business where you sell something for cheaper than you can, and you're hoping to get more revenue later from the consumer, right? But yeah, it's funny because I just think in motorcycling it just doesn't work, because like people expect to just buy a thing and just use the thing, like leave me alone after purchase. But the only way I see that these kind of subscription services work is when there's like a reasonable reason for charging it, like location based app tracking and all that. Like you got to pay for those servers, you got to pay for the GPS stuff. I'm sure there's ongoing costs to literally track your motorcycle of where it is in the world. That one I could maybe make the case for, but I think once you establish something being free, people really don't like when you come back and charge for it. They really don't like that. Yeah. And I think the broader thing here is CFMoto is playing with their reputation, right? Like I've already seen comments of people kind of being like, well, I'm never going to buy another CFMoto again. This sucks, you know? And I'm like, ooh, that's not good. A lot of people did that with KTM too. They're like, I'm never buying KTM. I mean, I'm that way. We're like, after the camshaft thing, the tech packages, I'm like, keep your freaking KTM. I'm never going to buy one. I just don't want one, you know?
And I think too, maybe CFMoto is in such like a sort of nebulous state still, is like they have that wiggle room to either lose customers knowing that they've got plenty of cool stuff coming in the next 5-10 years that people forget about it, or they'll bring in new customers, right? Like it's very different than like Honda decides to do some kind of experimental subscription-based service thing. People would have a meltdown. They'd be like,
oh
that,
my God, yeah.
Because it's just, people know what to expect.
Because it's beneath
a
them.
Legacy.
Do you know what I mean?
Well,
like
it's beneath
it feels
them,
like Honda's such a pristine, clean brand. It just feels beneath them to do that. Like the Japanese have this thing about like honor and respect, and like, you know, you look at Japanese cities, they're so clean. It really just feels beneath them to do something like that. And I think it would be the mark of the end times. A recession indicator is if Honda comes out with a subscription package for their bikes. Certainly a recession indicator. They got to cover those tariff costs, right?
No, I mean, right now Honda's still Honda and Suzuki at the time of recording this video are still the big four holding out on the tariffs and eating the cost themselves.
True.
So yeah,
but I see it as a, you know, kind of like with the R9 where you just buy the bike, you get everything. That's like refreshing, I think, for people to see that. We had it with the Panigale V2S where like it has the cruise control module, and I was confused when I was riding it because I tap it. I'm like, why can't I use cruise control? And it's just like, oh, you didn't pay for it. I'm like, I don't like that. I really don't like that.
Yeah, it does feel wrong.
Would you rather pay $5 a month to use cruise control, or a one-time $100 cost to use cruise control?
Yeah, one time for sure.
One time, right? Like, nope, I don't think anybody likes, just like the thing they bought, I got to keep paying. Because, like, you already got to pay for gas and insurance and all this other crap to just use the thing. And you're like, you really want me to pay $5 per month to access the tech package? The one last thing I'll say about this is KTM's thing was kind of funny because they had the demo mode, right? Where like they tried to pretend like they were some kind of drug dealer. They're like, yeah, we'll let you get the first 1,000 miles for free, but then you got to pay. That just feels even more slimy. I'm like, oh my God, dude, like just leave me alone. Just let me buy the bike and let me use it. Right. You know?
Yeah, they've since, obviously there's a lot of changes happening at KTM right now in terms of certain models kind of disappearing in the US and things, and obviously being bought out by Bajaj, but they've kind of like erased that from their history. And like when you look at the 890 Adventure, it says very plainly now that the optional tech package is included. So it's not even an optional. It's just like
just included. Yeah. Like they're doing you a favor. They're like, oh, you know, we used to charge for this, but now we'll give it to you for free.
And it's right there next to the massive like 4-year warranty like seal, you know, it's like the most like official looking thing. And
it's like those websites that have like at the bottom of checkout, they have all those like official looking things, and it's like certified, we're very accredited,
certified by the Better Business Bureau.
It's like everyone knows why.
And you see those on just like pest control trucks driving around that have like this Better Business Bureau logo like on it, and I'm like, I mean, I just kill the bugs, man. I don't care who you're accredited by, but
well, we're going to wait and see what CFMoto does with the subscription service. Hopefully they don't keep going down this road, because I don't think it's going to be good for their brand or their customers. Logan, any final thoughts?
I think they're just in their learning phase. Like I think yeah, in 3 months I'll have forgotten about this and it'll be a thing from the past. And because certain bikes, like from CFMoto, certain bikes that may or may not have some presence here at Yami Noob HQ are kind of analog. Like there aren't a ton of room to like block things, you know, cable throttle, whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what to do.
Here's the question that I just thought of. What if you get these subscription packages or whatever, and then you go and sell the bike? Is the new owner expected to keep paying those packages? Do you pay for them? Like I've seen cases like there was a car company called Fisker where they went under and they stopped paying for their servers or whatever that was like housing their data or whatever. And like their subscriptions just like stopped working. So this guy's like, I think it was his windshield or no, his windows to roll up and down. Like he couldn't do that anymore because he couldn't access the servers. This is just dumb, you know, like that's another problem with these subscriptions is like, it just causes issues with, you know, post-purchase and resale, and it's like just give me the damn
it's like
thing.
you buy the used car and like you accidentally click over onto Sirius XM radio, and then it's just like the bouncing ad that's like call so and so or whatever, and I'm like, no, I don't want Sirius XM radio. It's 2025.
2004 Corollas are about to skyrocket in value.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. All right, boys, thanks for watching today's episode. We appreciate it. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later.